Hola, Rocío.
It's already the just me YouTube live, okay? Well, good luck everyone. I present the open this discussion panel. Good luck. Okay. Good morning from the Republic of Panama. We begin the discussion panel, the Air Charter in Action with Artificial Intelligence, Climate Change, Entrepreneurship, Youth, and the Sustainable Development Goals, Decade of Action. This is organized by International Network Sustainable Development Goals Promoters Panama in conjunction with the Air Charter Young Leaders, Air Charter Educators, Ecopistin Cafe of Latin America and Caribbean, Code R International, National Youth Athenaeum, City of Mexico, Interliteraria Mexican, Institute of Fauna, Flora and Social Sustainability, AC. Let's transform the world. Let's transform the World Foundation. Sorry, Global Network of Políticas Argentina, Latin America, and the relation. B. Sustainable Development Goals, Marcelino Muñoz Foundation, Advanced Comprehensive Educational Program, Goals on Earth, ISOS Institute, SODES Postgraduate College, and the Center for Human Development, Ecology, and Environment Education. On behalf of the International Network of Sustainable Development Goals Panama and Code R International, we appreciate the attendance of the special guests and participants who are present in this virtual event from Latin America and the Caribbean, Africa, Europe, and Oceania, for the benefit of the humanity and the future generations, to reach the goals of the 2030 agenda without leaving anyone behind, adding the decade of action and peace in the world. Next, we move the introduction of the speakers who are joined us today. Dora Lauer from Ghana. She's currently a student of Ghana University of Media and Communication Arts Precincts and Communication Studies course, Public Relations and Marketing in early 2023 between February and April. She had a privilege of participating as a co-facilitator in Air Charter Leadership, Sustainable and Ethics online course. As for agriculture, she has followed in her parents' footsteps to undertake some agricultural projects. Genesis Pinson from Panama, technician in criminalistics from the Metropolitan University of Education, Science and Technology, law and political science student at the Universidad del Istmo, instructor of citizenship of the Electoral Tribunal, consultant in communication and marketing planning, criminal investigation and the accusatory penal system, consultant of the Justice Education Society of British Columbia in 2019, preschool teacher in English with an intermediate command of French, Italian, and Portuguese, participant of the Air Charter Leadership and Ethics course in 2020. Currently, she is an announcer in the Dance Floor radio program or Radio Ancon and was nominated in the Victory category of the Social Communication Awards in Panama in 2022. Melissa Reyes from Peru. Young Parliamentarian, Lima Region 2023, Congress of the Republic Youth Representative in AXI, 8 Culture Identities of the Metropolitan Youth Strategy Metropolitan Municipality of Lima, participant created of Lima, volunteer of the Lima 2022 Young Observatory, and she have more recognition, and she was formed for the Leadership and Ethics Educational Leaders in 2023. Amanda Bennett. Amanda Bennett is a project assistant and youth program coordinator of the NCYLA Secretariat. And the Center Education of Sustainability Development of UPeace. She was born in Guanacaste, Costa Rica, and grew up in South Carolina, United States. She earned a Bachelor of Arts in Experimental Psychology and the University of South Carolina, and the Master in Public Policy in the University of Maryland. Wow, awesome, Amanda. Congratulations. While studying in Maryland, Amanda interned of the National Center of Healthy Housing and the $100 Bill Project. After graduating, she moved back to Costa Rica and taught English in San Jose and brief in Cusco, Peru. Amanda is currently pursuing a master's degree in environment development and peace at the University for Peace. Congratulations. Okay. Well, the ultimate speaker have the information here. Luz Adriana Lopez is an environmental engineer in a specialization in project management for results from the Inter-American Development Bank and deployment strategy sustainable thinking and works in the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development. She's working at Coca-Cola FEMSA in the proportional of the circular economy strategy for Colombia. She executive director of her company, Transport SAS, an organization through which she executed her environment education project in school. Wow, awesome. Your curriculum, Luz, congratulations. Well, now we are open the discussion panel. Welcome, speakers, in this space. Okay. I asked the question. This is the rules of this activity, everyone. The speakers have to the 2 from 5 minutes answer the question. No problem. Directly the question. Okay. This is the question number 1. How can we encourage future generations to continue their eco-sustainable entrepreneurship project? Melissa, are you here?
Yes.
Can you answer this question? I repeat again. How can we encourage future generations to continue their eco-sustainable entrepreneurship projects?
Well, and the ecosystem is important, but is one of the most important issues in the life that ecosystem is should be a practice in Peru, but there are many differences about the ecosystem education, ambiental education, but could be could be could work at the same time, but could be spread out the practice, set out practice the culture of the sustainable because it has very advantages. One advantage is about the pollution in the world is really worrying in my case, but it's necessary to um, decrease the level of the contamination in and one of the most way of a person should be practice this ecosystem is to have account to have in about the environment that is important to life, breathe fresh air, break if breath air is clean air in Lima. The air is very pollution is very complicated. In my case, the cars are the most are the most contaminations in the world. Uh, would be the use gasoline. Use it, the gasoline is the petrol with the cars can be move can move on the other side because but should be decrease the level of the petrols about the using of cars. After that, I think um, should be replaces by natural gas. Natural gas is more sustainable because you can transportation in and enjoy the air more fresh and clean air. You might say. Um, in Lima, the last news about the in Lima Surco, that this district, this is example of people, poor people have don't have money to buy a house uh, because the government of Surco uh, has implemented by uh, mm, another way of another way of having a house with another using the recycling of the garbage, using and these uses by build houses, build houses in uh, uh, can be a benefit, can be for by persons who don't have any money to buy houses in this district. This district is about live rich people, but in and by in these cases there are many exceptions with people um, um, don't have the conditions of buying houses modern, but is near from where I live. But I like this initiative of the government because there are many opportunities to have a house without paying a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for your answer the question. Okay, continue the question, Dora. Dora, I repeat again the question. This is, how can we encourage future generations to continue their eco-sustainable and entrepreneur projects? Can you answer this question, Dora? Dora, are you hearing me? Dora, are you hearing me? Okay, Dora have the problems with the microphone. I asked the question. Luz, Luz, can you answer this question, please? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, hi everyone. Thank you for being here. Again, my name is Luz Adriana, and I want to just take 30 seconds to say why I have this sash today. Is a beautiful opportunity to start talking about this youth because this is the unique international pageant that is called Miss Earth, that its efforts is for the environment. So I'm so happy to announce I'm the Colombian representative in this Miss Earth International pageant, as I was saying, the unique pageant that follows environmental and social affairs. So the first thing I want to say about really taking the youth, the future generations, is that we need them to fall in love with the environment, with the sustainability. Because if they're not in love, if they are not connected with the nature, they're not ever going to be caring or taking care of what they really don't know. They have a lot of access to technology. Yeah, we all know about that. So it's so important that we really work with some programs that youth is always getting to know the nature, is getting to know ecotourism. In that way, you fall in love and you start to see that this is important, that we need to care about it. I would say that it's so important the places where the youth and the future generations are the most. Which ones are the schools, the university. So we need to work with environmental education. This is a must. We need to work in that. So in the first thing I would say is to create more school programs to teach and to be so close to these environmental topics, our impacts, our carbon, food, so they can get to know we have this impact, no? Because of course they are growing, they are learning, so it's the best moment for them to get connected. I would say this is so, they are really good ideas as hackathons and events where they can bring together a lot of young people and develop kind of innovative solutions, making them have to face problems and they start to think and being so creative, saying different ways to solve those problems. So it could be more like launching more incubations and accelerating labs in which we can take these amazing brains and make them think how they would solve those problems. Because the youth, I can tell you, they have already been born with this chip of sustainability. I want to talk by my project, as you were saying, by my presentation. Right now, I'm being an internship about environmental education. I'm working at the schools with them. I'm working in those schools where with everyone and the kids, and they are really having this sensibility for the earth. I can tell you they already have it. The fact is that if they already have the chip, we have to really take that, make it stronger, keep making that by environmental education in the way they really take the conscious, why it's so important, why we need to work on that. And then, of course, if we want to make them build and grow companies, is because they get the concept of sustainability. That is the equilibrium between the balance, that is the balance between economic, sustainability, is the balance between economic, environment, and social affairs. If we make them through the growing, make think that being sustainable is also being so good for the function, is so good to have really good results, economic results, and they are not apart, they are by hand. We can make them really think about being really good companies, managers, having so many success with money, but with the environment, and of course, the social impact. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Luz, for your interview. It's very awesome, your point. I need to listen this. This is the objective of this discussion panel. Thank you so much for your opinion and explain about the situation actually in Colombia. It's very fundamental. So I want to say I love Colombia because Colombia have a big relationship with Panama. We are brothers. Yes,
We
so
are
true.
brothers. We are brothers. We love Panama, and thank you for having me as a
Yeah.
representative of Colombia.
Panama loves always Colombia. Thank you so much. Panama love too, Shakira. Hey, say hello, Shakira. Yeah, okay. Well, continue the question. Okay, I read again the question this moment. About this point, I want to present my dear friend Shima Michael from Nigeria. Hey Shima, how are you? Welcome to this discussion panel. Thank you so much for staying in this space. Very important for the youth generation, you know. So
yes, I know.
I'm very happy stay in different countries in this space now. So yeah, stay my dear youth coordinator Amanda Bennett from the El Chatillon Leaders. Okay, so this is a question for you, Shima.
Okay, Roger.
Okay. How can we identify artificial intelligence in the Sustainable Development Goals? What is your point in this case, Shima? What projects? Sorry. Okay, I repeat again.
Okay.
How can we identify artificial intelligence with the Sustainable Development Goals? In your point, your opinion, Shima.
Okay. First of all, the world is being run by technology now, and
yeah,
machines are taking over human jobs. And no matter how much you try to deny that fact, is a truth that is going to come upon each and every one of us, that machines are going to take over whatever it is that you've been doing. Either you're advocating for quality education, either you're advocating for gender equality, you're advocating for life on water, you're advocating for quality health, you're advocating for zero hunger. The place of machine can never be underemphasized. So it's now left for humans to actually try to incorporate a symbiosis between humans and machines, wherein we take advantage of the artificial intelligence to reduce human effort and to reduce costs, because there are places that humans can't reach, but with technology, those places can reach. For example, this meeting we're having online had a way of bringing a convergence between different continents and different countries. So we have been able to use technology to actually bridge a gap and then share knowledge and information. So artificial intelligence is going to play a whole lot of role in sustainable development goals. Let me give an example. In terms of education, there is a new robotic that is actually available, which is the ChatGPT. ChatGPT has actually become a renowned friend to almost everybody who uses the web. For example, every application has actually inculcated artificial intelligence. ChatGPT, you have Siri, you have the one for Amazon. I've actually forgotten the name, but every tech actually has a little bit of AI that is incorporated. So if you can actually take advantage of artificial intelligence to help us transmit the goals of the United Nations, which are sustainable. We are going to be able to reach out to much more people. You're going to be able to reach out to a whole lot of individuals who we can't reach on a physical front. For example, we have AIs who are able to actually generate pictures that actually like relative to what people actually go through. And most of the time, teaching with pictures actually goes a long way to help retainers. For example, there's no way you can actually describe hunger to a person if we and the person actually understand it compared to when you actually use pictures to do that. For example, I can say that hunger has actually been bad, and then we're trying to create zero hunger. You may not really like understand what I'm trying to say, or let's actually have a graphical representation of what I'm talking about. For example, I show you a starving child in the savannah of Africa, and then you see the effect of hunger on this child. So you're going to feel much more compassionate, you're going to feel much more compelled into wanting to go into action because of a graphical representation. I can pull up statistics with artificial intelligence. I can compose a much more customized message to an audience with the help of artificial intelligence. And these things can be done with ease because technology is actually there to help human needs. So in a world that is actually evolving, these SDGs should as well go into the custom, go into the tradition, and then evolve with the world. We have to find a way of putting the SDG with artificial intelligence to actually make it look much more fun to identify with. We're going to find a way to actually like try to make people relate with the SDG goals. That doesn't look like something that is cumbersome or something that is alien. The SDG is actually what actually concerns each and every one of us. Every individual on earth is affected by one SDG or another, either directly or indirectly. If the third world country is not actually a better place, the first world countries are going to feel the effect, either by immigration or by leveraging on the economy of the third world countries to serve them dry in terms of donation. Like there are countries actually like going through underdevelopments, and these countries, if they are not being reached out with the SDGs, they are still going to be underdeveloped and they're going to be a nuisance to the world at large. So what affects one affects the other. So artificial intelligence is actually going to go a long way when it's being inculcated into the SDGs. Contents can be created because it's actually the era of social media. So we can actually come to a point that we create contents with artificial intelligence that are actually relative to a particular culture, because we as people cannot study every culture, but artificial intelligence can actually help you understand the fact that this culture is related with this stuff, and then customize messages that are going to reach out to them. Most of us are not bilingual. Some of us don't understand Spanish. Some of us only speak English and our native language. So with artificial intelligence, you can actually take up messages in other languages and then translate them into other languages to be able to reach out to more audience and at a rapid speed. So I think that the role of artificial intelligence in the SDGs cannot be overemphasized. It's actually a call to action. So actually, every advocate should actually inculcate the use of artificial intelligence to pass more message, to reach out to a broader audience, and to spur people into taking actions. It's actually going to be a nice thing for everybody around the globe. Thank you so much, Roshiro.
Thank you very much, Shima, for your point. Congratulations. This is the OYT for the discussion panel. Listen directly the reason why the youth people express that worry about this point. Thank you again, Shima. Congratulations. So continue the activity. I read again the question here. Okay. This is for Genesis. Hi, Genesis. How are you? Welcome to the discussion panel.
Hi,
Welcome.
everyone. Hi, Rocio.
Thank you. Okay. This is the question for you, Genesis. How can we guide future generations about reducing inequalities based on ethics and values that refer to world peace? Hey, you study law and political science, and you always use the pillar for democracy, no violence and peace. can you tell me your opinion about this question, Genesis? We listen to you.
Okay. Guiding future generations to reduce inequities based on ethics and values related to world peace requires a comprehensive education, awareness. We need some steps to consider, or some objects to consider. Education on ethics and values. Teach the importance of empathy, compassion, and respect to all individuals and cultures. Promote critical thinking. Encourage young people to think critically about social issues, inequities, and the consequences of discrimination. Help them understand the global problems. Community engagement, involve young people in community service and social justice initiative. Allow them to see the impact on their actions in addressing inequalities and promoting peace. We need a leadership training. Equip young leaders with the skills and knowledge needed to advocate for equality and peace. Empower them to be voices of change in their communities. Teach media literacy to help young people critically evaluate the information they consume. Encourage them to seek out a diverse perspective and avoid promoting hate and injustice. Instill a sense of global citizenship and emphasizing shared responsibility for addressing global challenges. Connect young people with mentors and role models and values of peace, equality, and ethical behavior through real life examples. Promote dialogue among different religion and cultural groups to foster understanding and tolerance. Encourage young people to participate in these conversations. Support young lead grassroots initiative and address inequalities and promote peace in their communities. We need to advocate. No, we need to engage in advocacy and work within the political system to bring about policies changes that promote equality and peace. We need the collaboration of a global scale. Working together can lead to a more peaceful world. By incorporating these strategies, we can help to guide future generations to be ethical, values-driven leaders, can actively work to reduce inequalities and contribute to global peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hennessy, for your opinion. Well, this is the point, need listen. The relationship of the pillar for the democracy, no violence, and peace of Air Charter. Okay, continue the activity. I ask that this very important question, my dear Amanda Bennett, you coordinator of Air Charter Young Leaders. Hey, Amanda, how are you? Thank you for staying here in this space. Nice to meet you again.
Thank you, Rocio.
She always organize meetings with the all NCYA, all regions. No, okay. Listen this point, Amanda, and Dora too. What is the importance of the relationship of the Air Charter document with education for sustainable development? based on climate change. Can you explain this point, Amanda? We listen to you.
Yes, thank you, Rocio. Thank you everyone for joining us and for your attention and for your participation. So Rocio, if you can let me share my screen, I can share some visuals, but if not, it's okay. Okay, but basically, yes, we've been talking about the Earth Charter a lot. If this is new to you, if this is new to my co-panelists, I just wanted to share a little bit more about what this document is, so you have a better idea,
Yes.
and why we're using it for education for sustainable development, why people around the world are joining these collective efforts, why we talk so much about the Sustainable Development Goals, why we talk about the 2030 Agenda, and why we use so many acronyms in the world of sustainability and peace education as well. Okay, I think, yes, thank you so much, Rocio. So I can share my screen. So just so you have an idea, and so you understand what these illustrations are that you're also seeing, the Earth Charter is a document with 16 principles that are divided into 4 different pillars. And it's powering a global movement ever since it was launched in the year 2000. But even though it was launched in the year 2000, 23 years ago, it was a very participatory process that involved people from so many cultures. It started out at the United Nations. And before that, before many of you were probably born, in 1987, scientists, educators, world leaders around the world were talking about sustainability. We're worrying about these limits that we were finally realizing that we had, these limits to growth. So there was a commission, the Brundtland Commission, that called for a document that brought together a universal ethic. So universal values to bring people together to work towards the same goals, because we need values. If we're going to have goals, we need to know why we're pursuing these targets, these specific goals. We need something that unites us on a more human level, on a more personal level, that gives us that intrinsic motivation. So, and we can't just have these values from one corner of the world. We need to involve everyone, because this crisis that we're going through, it affects everyone on Earth, and not just humans. We also have to think about the other forms of life that we're sharing this Earth community with, so other species. So keep in mind that our actions here in Costa Rica, where I'm joining you from, can have an impact on another country across the world, and also those differentiated actions as well. So maybe actions for someone in the United States or in China might have even bigger impacts than the ones that I'm having here in Costa Rica because of different historical factors. So all of this, we needed first to sit down, have conversations, and think, okay, why are we doing this? Why are we coming together? And that's why a group of people joined efforts to work towards this Earth Charter document. That's why it's called Earth Charter, because it is a charter, it is an agreement of people around the world. So it's divided into 4 pillars. And these pillars include the first one, it's like the roots of a tree. So it's the respect and care for the community of life. And then that branches out into pillar 2. We start out thinking about ecological integrity. So how do we keep the Earth in balance and healthy, this planetary well-being? And also a lot of what humans do and have done is affecting this ecological integrity. So we also have to think about our relationships, since we are making a lot of this impact, both negative and positive. So we also have to talk about social and economic justice when it comes to talking about sustainability. And of course, to keep this also in balance, we need democracy, nonviolence, and peace to keep us going at a peaceful rate, so that we can achieve this collaboration. And as I mentioned, the Earth Charter was launched in the year 2000. So this was before the Sustainable Development Goals. And so the Earth Charter helped a lot of people also work towards the Millennium Development Goals, which were before the Sustainable Development Goals. And now people around the world are continuing to use the Earth Charter to work towards the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. Because as you can see, Each pillar has 4 different principles, and these principles have their sub-principles. So if you haven't read the Earth Charter yet, I encourage you to take the time to read it. You can come to our other events. Earth Charter International organizes many webinars, master classes, courses, and I also encourage you to keep up with this youth network so that you can also learn about it from a youth perspective. And yeah, so the Earth Charter is divided into different pillars, and different principles within each pillar. And once you read it, once you look through, and so for example, I can read you, they have been summarized very visually for these short presentations into a few words. So for example, we have interdependence of life, love and responsibility, democracy and freedom, and justice across generations. And once you read this and use it hand in hand with the SDGs, you will see so many connections with these values and what we need to do to turn them into action so that we can achieve the SDGs. You can also look at your personal development. I also encourage you, if you haven't seen them yet, you can check out the inner development goals, and I can help you personally work on your development, and also you can support it with your personal moral compass. Hopefully the Earth Charter can also inspire you for that. And through that inner development, with that moral compass, with that ethical guidance, then you can work towards the SDGs in a collaborative manner, because we need collaboration at every level if we want to achieve them. And so, yeah, so there's an interesting history behind this movement. So I really encourage you to check out our website. You can check out earthcharter.org if you want to access the materials in English, or cartadelatierra.org if you want to access them in Spanish, and learn more about what young people are doing. We work a lot with stories, we work a lot with educators, because there are people doing amazing things all over the world. And through education, we can inspire each other so that we can start thinking creatively. We can work on those values that Genesis was pointing out. We need empathy to work together. We need courage to work together. So that's why it's so important to help students and help teachers, help educators, and help our current leaders as well, business leaders, world leaders, local leaders, work on these things together, but work on it through with that inner development so that we can achieve this collaboration. Thank you, Rocio.
No, thank you so much, Amanda, for explaining more details how born the Earth Charter document. It's very inspiration. I remember when I was 11 years old, was the Earth Charter was not created, the initiative of the society. I remember when I saw in the Watch TV, the news, and my father explained me, Rocio, this is the document very important to protect the environment, the Mother Earth. You know, what this document for? It's totally the Earth Charter. And I remember when I know more the Earth Charter, when I get the course, the sustainability ethics, and in 2017, I can't believe it. I say I can't believe it. I know it about the document, but I can't believe it. Know it about the Center of Education of the Charter, and I continue to organize this activity, and I'm very feel grateful for you this space, Amanda. Your inspiration for the next generation and all people in the world. When you bring the legacy, thank you so much for your words in this space, Amanda. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, we are continuing the discussion panel. The next question. Okay, this is for Melissa and Genesis. The question number 5. Say, how can we promote the ideas of youth innovation and entrepreneurship with the sustainable development goals? First, Melissa, and after Genesis, and an ultimate Luz. First, Melissa, we listen to you.
Yes. In this case, we can promote different actions with in the school, because there are many adolescents, young adolescents, that don't know about how contribute the society. But this is a campaign. There are campaigns. Should be a campus in the school, universities, because there are um, space. There are new space for people to promote the the society, the social activities is very important. Um, I think there are many important ways of strategies to motivate people. Can be best persons, can be to take into actions this initiative in the city, or in the living in um, where live in this moment, because there's responsibility of each person, have have a vision about the how which have at the planet society, because that's the relationship with actions actors, social actors that we promote to have to have various very initiative that will not so great, but these are simple actions can be promote another person's, this person promote more people, and that is a spread more initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Continue Genesis. After to Genesis, Luz, and ultimate Dora. Dora told me in previous chat, can get again the microphone is answered. Okay, continue Genesis. Genesis, I will listen to you.
Okay. Promoting youth innovation and entrepreneurship in alignment with the sustainable development goals, essential for about my point, there's ways to encourage this idea while advancing at the sustainable development goals. Integrate into educational curriculum to raise awareness among youth about global changes and opportunities. Organize workshops, seminars, awareness campaigns. Establish and support entrepreneurship programs and incubators to encourage youth to develop solutions. Provide access to mentorship and resources to inspire young entrepreneurs. Offer funding opportunities and grants for youth. Let startups that demonstrate the commitment to the sustainable development goals, and support programs that equip young people with digital and technological skills, that these are often crucial for innovation and entrepreneurship. We need to encourage youth to explore social entrepreneurship that directly addresses society changes outlined in the Sustainable Development Goals, and promote the idea that businesses can be forced for good. We need to see the sustainability, entrepreneurial ventures, encourage management, foster a partnership between governments, businesses, NGO, and educational institutions to create an ecosystem conducive to youth innovation and entrepreneurship aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. We need to pair young entrepreneurs with experiences, mentors, who can guide them, development their businesses and projects. We need to engage youth in decisions making process and policy development by integrating youth innovation and entrepreneurship into the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals and implementing these strategies. We can empower young people to become agents of change, driving progress toward a more sustainable and equitable future. Thank you, Rocio.
Thank you, Genesee, for interview. It's very important, this point about the projects we are entrepreneurship. It's very important to use the relationship of the eco-friendly. Now, this is the innovation for the next generations. Okay, so we continue. Luz, did you have the projects in Colombia? Can you explain about this point? But in Colombia, because I listened in the news how the youth people design eco-friendly products and sell always this. For example, Netflix, earrings for material eco-friendly. Can you explain me this experience with this question? We listen to you, Luz. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, here in Colombia is amazing how we are all so connected with everything that nature is giving to us. So here you can see how many earrings and a lot of different stuff that is made by the seeds of fruits or by the leaves, or I saw one day by the Amazon of part of Colombia that we have a really huge fish, but the skin of the fish, they get dry and they are making a lot of different things too with the fish, like different things, you know. So here we are so creative, and at the same time we have crazy amazing biodiversity. So of course by the bees, there are a lot of projects with the honey, with products for of course health based on natural resources, you know. So in this part I was really wanting to say that for our youth promoted them, we really need to encourage that those entrepreneurs that are based on natural sources, based on these sustainable practices, they need to be really support. And every time if you travel to Colombia, you're gonna see how many people is always making really amazing and creative things by the natural resources. In this case, it's so important. And here in Colombia, we had another organization that's called Impulsa, and a lot of different organizations that promote these spaces for being educated on, raise the capabilities of all these young people in order to make them really get strong through this topic. So in this case, I would also want to say that in my mission and the work I have been doing with the Ministry of Environment here in my country, there's something amazing that we have been working on is the regional circular economy roundtables. That part is amazing because it's getting connected with the communities. We are making this as a roundtable when we can be closer to the amazing ideas we have as entire country, because sometimes of course it's about the capital city, but what about the different perspectives that we have in the different realities we have around the country, the different problems, the different of course not just the problems but the biodiversity and resources we have around the country. So in every single region we're going to have different ways to be solving different problems, and by these roundtables the Ministry of Environment is promoting is a really huge window, a really huge scenario where we are sitting down with the communities, with entrepreneurs, with the of course governmental organization, but also companies being together in the same place talking and really being this networking about what we can do together, getting the strengths together. That's a really important thing. So I would encourage that in this youth encourage for everything. It's important that we promote these networking spaces where we can, that the youth is a really beautiful like time of our life where we are looking for inspiration. So it's a really good moment to get together with the companies, with the CEOs of the companies, letting the histories, knowing about how they did everything, in order to everyone know that, hey, we are able to do that. If he can make it, I can make it too. If she can make it, I can make it too. So it's about this being more connected also, and this fact about promote the success histories of the young entrepreneurs who are working and who are making amazing things would be a really good idea, because if the youth is so connected with the social media, with the news, so why we should as a country pay more attention for this news about these histories of life or of entrepreneurs that are making the difference, that are making really good ideas, and get attention to those things in our social media. Let's talk about amazing things we are doing. Let's talk about promote the amazing ideas and products, sustainable products we are making, because there's something amazing about the SDGs that I really love a lot. Is two main things about these sustainable development goals. One, those make us remember that we are not the only living thing on earth, that actually we have, and we are every day beside a lot of really important living things and ecosystems. I'm saying this because of these goals about life on the land, by life in the water. So what about being remembering we have a lot of biodiversity and species? And also the other thing I like a lot about the SDGs is that those remember us, we have many areas to work towards all these international agreements, all these goals we have for 2030, for our Tokyo Paris Agreement, all those goals we want to achieve have a lot of different areas. So this SDGs remember us is about clean energy, is about sustainable cities, is about responsible production by consumption too, the collaboration, the internships we need to get together, the of course education, hunger. So it's amazing how we can encourage the entrepreneurs through the goals if they get so close to the SDGs goals, in order to make us think in a wide way, that we have many that we have a lot of different options to do this. And the last thing I would say is, we as consumers have the first step too. You remember, by all this pandemic, the companies that are not selling, they have to close. So you can see how powerful is your decision as a consumer. You can be the one that is consuming in a place and be taking the right decision of the right materials, the right strategies of sustainability the companies are doing. So you as a consumer has really a really important role right here, and you're totally capable. And what about in these entrepreneurships, encourage that since the beginning of the entrepreneurship and the companies, we ask for sustainable productions, like waste. We ask that the production have to be sustainable. So this is a really amazing thing, but we need to get closer with the SDGs, and to see that we have a lot of opportunities really to make the change.
Thank you so much, Luz, for explaining all data about this point in Colombia. Very nice. I know it about Impulsa from the organization Academy of Entrepreneurs in Australia. I want to say hello to Paula Mills. Hey, Paula, how are you? I was working of her 3 months ago about the courses of how you can get a eco-friendly negotiation, entrepreneur with the new generation. Very awesome, this project. And I coordinate to her the relationship with the embassies and consulate to promote this course. Very free, but it's very free, the course. I recommended the course of Paula Mills for Academy Entrepreneurs. Very awesome, the project of her. Okay, I continue. Dora Lower, are you here? Hi,
Yes, I'm
Dora
here.
from Ghana, my friend from Ghana. How are you? I read again for you the question. The question is for you. This: how can we promote the idea of youth innovation and entrepreneurship with the sustainable development goals? Dora, your microphone is yours. We listen to you. Are you here, Dora? Hello.
Please, I had an internet problem.
Okay,
My network is not
we are
stable.
listening to you. You can continue.
Okay, so we have various SDGs, that's the Sustainable Development Goals, and then we also have the Earth Charter principles, which are all good for us to achieve sustainability in diverse ways. Even in entrepreneurship, we have a lot of entrepreneurs. When you come to Ghana here, we have a lot of entrepreneurs in my country who engage in small scale businesses. Okay, so what I think is needed to be done is education, and then making the people aware of these SDG goals, and also the Earth Charter principles and values. Because as an entrepreneur, I think we need to have the knowledge, the values and skills needed for a sustainable way of life, even in our businesses, in our schools, our colleges, and everywhere. So, like I said before, in my country, we have various small scale businesses and then the large scale businesses. When those people operating these businesses are aware of the SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals, I think we would have a long way to go when we apply them to our businesses, then we are going to have a long way to go. For instance, a company producing various plastics, that's entrepreneurship, right? Producing plastics. When you come to Ghana here, the usage of plastics is very common. And you know, plastics does not decay. We have only one earth that we are living on that is sustaining us for now, the earth that is sustaining life. And if plastic does not decay on this earth, then I think what we should rather reduce the use of plastic because it is not helping us. Okay, so for me, as entrepreneurs, I'll urge that we look at the SDG goals very well once again, because the last time we looked at one of the SDG goals that talks about life underwater. When I say life underwater, I mean life in the ocean, our fishes in the ocean. Okay. We as entrepreneurs are producing various plastics. And then at the end of the day, we, the same people, dispose them indiscriminately. And then they get back into the ocean and destroy life in the ocean. You understand? And even the fishes that we survive on. And that's interdependence of all life, right? Because we depend on the ocean. And then the life in the ocean also depend on us. You understand? So our actions are interconnected with everything in the ecosystem, right? So when we use these plastics and then we dispose them off indiscriminately, they get back into the ocean and then destroys life in the ocean. And even when we want to depend, we are ready to depend on this life in the ocean, which are the fishes we eat each and every day, we tend to fall sick because we've poisoned the ocean. Okay, so the fishes now are dying. Some of the fishes are getting sick, and at the end of the day, we eat them back into our system, and then we also fall sick. So I think education too will be very important in this aspect of entrepreneurship and then the SDG goals, because we need to be aware of them, including the Earth Charter principles. We need to be aware of these principles and goals and work hand in hand with each other, partner with NGOs, non-governmental organizations. In our smaller communities, when you come to Ghana, we have the chiefs, we have various institutions in our small communities that we can engage with them, okay, and then partner with them to educate each and every individual to be aware. So when anybody is venturing into any entrepreneurship business, behind the mind of that person is the SDG goals, and then the Earth Charter principles, the interdependency of all life, interconnectedness. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dora, for your opinion. It's very important, your point. You explain about your experience in Ghana. I very feel admirable the old people in Africa, because people in Africa design necklaces with a natural products, no? And I saw that the entrepreneur projects, no, for the youth people in Africa. And congratulations at this point, Dora. Congratulations. My respect for your country, Ghana. My respect. My respect. Okay.
Thank you.
My respect, yes. Okay, continue the activity. The ultimate question for all speakers. For all speakers. Okay, the ultimate this question. How can we make civil society reflect on the points made in the panel based on the practice of ethics and values so that the mistakes of the past are not continued. First, Melissa, after Dora, Genesis, Amanda, after Luz, and ultimate Shima. We listen to you, Melissa. Directly, we listen to you. We will stay the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, I repeat again. How can we make civil society reflect on the points made in the panel based on the practice of ethics and values so that the mistakes of the past are not continued? What is your point, Melissa?
Yes. In my case, I think there are many actions can be changed in the people because the values and the ethics it depends of the um, persons, but I think and we should be conscious about the consequence of bad actions. But actions can be affected per people, pollutions. About that, that this is like humans beings should be reflections about how actions affects the is- the situations affect the climate, different topics about that. We have more responsible about the actions can be in there's worse a consequence in the life, and we can be best persons in every year, can be have a conscious, have a collective knowledge about the. In my case, is very important to read um, about different topics that is important to um, have a general evaluation about uh, how how is the best life of the persons we we are best better world, we are better actions, that is relationship, the relationship about the natural and mental is important with about the have a there is a values about the solidarity. The solidarity is the best value that can be um, change the no who self thinking about the to have more inclusive about the persons. There are many topics, there are many actions that be changed about the social and social can be we build a better world, better place, better live it. And the last one is to have a to work myself in for better actions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. So we continue. Dora. Dora, we listen to you. What is your opinion about this question?
Okay, so how we can engage this civil society groups, as we are already aware, in from my part of the world, anytime we talk about these SDG goals, which are in line with the Earth Charter principles, anything like ecological integrity, respect for all life, we don't see this civil society.
Excuse me, Dora, can you level your voice because your voice is very low? Can you, okay?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear best for you? Thank you. Continue. Thank you.
So, what I was saying is that in my part of the world, especially the civil societies, we need to get them involved in the knowledge we have acquired, okay, through the learning the SDG goals, the Earth Charter principles, making the life on Earth very sustainable for all of us. We need to engage them. In my part of the country, these we have a lot of civil societies, okay, but most of the times when we talk about the SDG goals, which are in line with the Earth Charter principles, we talk about climate change, we talk about quality education, which should be accessible for all. You hardly find civil society groups engaged in these talks. So I think like such meetings, the meeting we are holding now, before we start the meeting, I think we also have friends who are in this civil society groups that we can share with them, and then they can join us in the meeting and also learn from us. In that way, it's a form of educating each and everyone. Okay, so in that way, we get involved with all these groups or all the civil society groups in our various countries or communities, so that together we work towards a sustainable living or sustainable development in our various or respective countries, communities. Yeah. So even though it will take a while, I think when it is a steady effort, when we make a steady effort, we'll be able to achieve our aims and goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dora. We are continue. And okay, we are continuing the interview here. Let me to ask Genesis. You continue. We listen to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Continue. Yes.
Okay. On the points made in a panel discussion and learn based on the practice of ethics and value, we need to organize inclusive panel discussion that represent a diverse perspective and backgrounds to foster comprehensive discussion. Being panel discussion by highlighting the importance of ethical consideration and shared values as guiding principle for the conversation. Provide historical context and an example for past mistakes that emphasizing the ethical and moral dimension of those errors. We need to present case studies that illustrate the consequences of unethical decision or action in the past, and encouraging critical analysis, showcase example of individuals, organization, or movement that have demonstrated ethical leadership and positive change. We need to include activities group like brainstorming sessions, role-playing exercises that encourage participants to apply ethical principles. Establish ethical frameworks and principles relevant to panel topics such as human rights, justice, fairness, empathy. Encourage the active participation of young people in panel discussion, as they bring fresh perspective and a strong sense of ethical responsibility. By integrating ethic and values into panel discussion and engaging civil society in thoughtful reflection, we can work toward preventing the repetition of past mistakes and fostering a more ethical and responsible society.
Thank you so much, Genesis, for your interview. Now continue, Amanda. Amanda, we want to listen your opinion. Please, your microphone is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Rocio, and thank you everyone who has already answered this question. I really agree with your perspectives, and I'm really thankful that we were able to join today, and for the people who are joining and reflecting on these important issues. I think just to finish quickly, we've already talked about, as Genesis was saying, having that ethical framework. We've talked a lot about the Earth Charter. So I think just keep sharing stories, keep sharing what we're doing, keep sharing, highlighting what our friends are doing, what our colleagues are doing. So I wanted to share a quote that really inspired me ever since I read it. It's been 2 years already, but in the Earth Charter movement, there's a lot of people that inspire me. And one of these people is Dr. Brendan Mackey. So he is from Australia, and he is one of those scientists with the UN, with the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So he was part of the Sixth Assessment Report, and he's a member of the Earth Charter International Council. So this is a scientist, this is a person who spends his time looking at data, looking at facts, looking at numbers. But I thought about bringing his words to this panel because we're talking about artificial intelligence, we're talking about ethics, and he does a really good job of communicating this as well. So I wanted to leave you all with one of the answers he gave to the question of what gives us hope. So for Brendan, he said, hope resides in the capacity of each person to make informed moral judgments. Our ability to make ethical judgments is about what is right and wrong. What is the right and wrong thing to do when faced with challenging circumstances? And one of these characteristics, this is one of the characteristics that defines our common humanity and distinguishes HI, which is human intelligence, from AI, artificial intelligence. It is our moral intelligence, guided by shared values and ethical principles, such as the ones expressed in the Earth Charter, that have given me hope that we can do what is needed to deliver climate justice to people everywhere, future generations, and the wider Earth community. So as Brendan says, we have to work on this personal, ethical, moral compass. We can be inspired by people around the world, not just by the worldview that we grew up in, but also remember that we're interconnected, that our actions matter, that other people's actions matter, and not just think about the perspective of humans, but think about the perspective of other species that we're sharing this home with now, but also the ones who are coming in the future. So think about future generations, not only our children, but our children's children's, our children's children. And yeah, think about that intergenerational justice, think about the history, what we have learned, and what our legacy is going to be. So really keep working on that human intelligence, which is what Genesis was saying, ethical dilemmas. Dora, Melissa, Mike, Luz, we have all been working, Rocio, we have all been working on this as young leaders who are here joining you today. We have been thinking about these ethical dilemmas, and hopefully you are too. So practicing for when we keep encountering them, because climate change, air pollution, biodiversity loss, these are big crises that are scary and they can leave us paralyzed. But if we work together, I think, and we focus also on not only strengthening the science and the technology that we have and that will continue to improve, but really thinking about that human intelligence, as Brendan Mackey says in his answer to this question, and strengthening that and strengthening our connections. I think that's how civil society can continue to get involved. And hopefully, if you didn't know about the Earth Charter until today, hopefully it will inspire you to read the document and help you work on that personal compass as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for your interview. You have the reason that the Earth Charter united all people in the world, only one society. It's very true. Thank you for your interview. Now continue to Luz. Luz, can you explain this point in your working, in your previous life? Your microphone is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for each one that have answered this question. It's so inspiring and so emotional for me to be here and be hearing at you and having these amazing points about values and about really being conscious and human beings. So for me, there's something we haven't been talked about. We're talking about the civil, no? The people that we are being at the cities and all the stuff. For me, it's kind that we are having a lot of privileges that are making us kind of apart of other realities that are happening in the same country and also in other countries that are living really in a strong way the consequences of this climate change, of these changes that are countries that are, we all know that are not the ones that are the massive productives, or the emissions are not huge as other countries, but they are suffering the consequences. So for me, this question is so important in the fact that we, the ones that are having different contexts, that we are by the cities, we have to make our privilege not make us being blind. We have to use the privilege, these capabilities, our studies, everything we are working on developing to make those be the tools in order to work and to be outside and provide something, give something, help in some way. So first, I really want to recognize and say thank you and congratulate each person that is right here today in this conversation, if you are watching this too, because you're being part of being in your context, you want to learn what can you do, what else can you do, what else can you learn today in order to do something different. And we were talking about this in this entire conversation we have been take. Is about using the different resources we have. We have these natural resources, amazing. Is not that we never touch anything. It's about making in the best way that we do not affect the natural process that our planet have. I'm sure and I believe that we don't need to save the planet. The planet has the totally ability to save itself, because it's impressively resilient, is impressively regenerative, but we need to save our permanence and our quality of life on our planet. In that way, I really think it's about get every person really being part of this. It's not that you're making a favor to the planet if you care about this. Is that you are part of this. If you're drinking water, if you're eating food, well, guess what? You are part of this planet and you are using resources of the planet. So why don't just be thankful to give back, at least respect, at least think about your impacts, at least think about how you can give something back because you are having an amazing place to live. Yeah. So it's more about end up with this conversation about please come and save this. Please be conscious. It's more about connect again with your heart and be grateful for what you're having. And in this manner, it's so important that we think that we are really being taking an extremely hard consumption of everything. But you know that just designing in the best way our products and doing better research and better strategies about sustainability in our companies, in the internships, in everything. Since the design, we can really like be one step before everything happens. So it will be amazing. And so one of our amazing panelists was saying, we need to prevent. This is a moment in which we need to start preventing, adapting, mitigating, because of course the planet is keep going and all the activities, this climate change, everything is already going so fast. But we need to start working on how to be adapting, how to prevent, how to get more involved with these things we have to do in order people not suffering in that way, but to be more informed, to be more connected. So this message today is more about that, like to prevent and to be super conscious that we are part of an entire nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Luz, for your interview. And the ultimate speaker, Shima Michael from NCOLA, Nigeria. Shima, can you tell me your point about this question? We listen to you.
Okay, thank you, Rochelle.
Yeah.
About the ethical part of the AI and artificial intelligence, I believe that no matter how much machines try to take over the world, there are some virtues and some values that they actually have. Like, they don't have the ability to actually make judgments based on conscience. They actually work on codes, numbers, zeros and ones, and instructions given to them. So in as much as you're trying to make machines work like humans, there are still some places that machines cannot do the works of human. And it's now up to those who are actually programming these machines to actually know that there are some things that can be judged based on numbers. Some things can actually be felt from a point of a close relation with some of these problems and issues that actually go through. Like, for example, I'm an African, and Nigerian, to be precise, we're actually associated with so many issues. Nigeria is actually a country that's actually blessed with so much capital, human and natural resources. And yet we suffer from one of the worst governments and leadership on planet Earth. We suffer from corruption, nepotism, and the rest of them. And even when we try to push sustainable development goals, it is still shrouded in corruption. Like most of the pioneers of SDGs in governments try to convert these things for their own personal use. And there is no way you can actually take artificial intelligence to a country like that, a machine that actually obeys command, and it won't still be corrupted. I don't know if you're getting me. The machines are still going to be corrupted to be used for those your personal needs. So ethics actually has a long way to actually play, because you're going to understand that you're trying to be placed on a justice scale to weigh in on the right and the wrong. You're trying to be on a scale where you're trying to be weighed, and then trying to find a better option, trying to save many, trying to get rich. In those trying times stands your morality. In those trying times stands your ability to actually like say no to some vices and stand on the path of rights. Down here in Africa, we actually suffer from a case of incompetence, a case of poverty. And I will tell you, I've actually witnessed poverty on a first hand. And poverty is actually like the mother of every vice you're going to see. Most of you actually come from a country that is actually workable, that is actually working. You have systems that are good. You have institutions that actually like live up to their expectations, and that is good. But if you're going to be able to live in a country, in a continent like Africa, in a country like Nigeria, and you're still able to stand up for the right things, that means you can actually survive anywhere in the world. So ethics is actually something that should actually be imbibed in artificial intelligence. No matter how much we try to take away the place of man and make work easier, we need to actually understand that some ethical considerations have to be done. Some things have to be seen from a point of human conscience. Some things actually have to be seen from a point of how can we do these things to actually be for the betterment of everybody? Let's not do something because every other person is doing it, but let us come to a point that we're going to survey and know what really works for us. How are we going to see that the machines are being used for what they are meant to be used for, but we have to still put in our human intelligence, actually like weigh the circumstances and know the approaches are actually meant to be applied to these. That is why I'm going to be grateful to Amanda, because Amanda has actually been of a great help to me on the Acción network. Thank you, Amanda. I'm actually listening out to you. Thank you so much. Amanda has actually been helpful to me in terms of my network. I go to her for help and then she delivers. These are actually people who are trying to like make changes, but the system has a way of actually swallowing all of these people up. You can't bring artificial intelligence to a place like Africa and expect those things actually like work out the way it's going to work out in Panama or in Costa Rica, in America, in the Bahamas, or in the UK. You can't expect to actually work that way. So you have to know what condition that people actually like being through. The environment you're actually coming from is different from whatever environment you're actually coming from. We have seen a system that is so dark to a point that you can basically taste the darkness in the system. So whatever works for A will not work for B. So if artificial intelligence is going to be applied, there should be a sprinkling or a robust application of ethicality on whatever actions the SDGs are going to be taking. AI is actually good. We have seen the abundance of AI, but much more attention, not pity, much more attention should actually be given to monitoring and evaluation of the problems down here in Africa. If Africans actually raise issues and they're actually seeking for help, the system actually has a way of actually choking it. Like, for example, I have an organization I actually work with. Amanda knows about it, Rosha knows about it, ADESO. ADESO has actually been on advocacy for the past 3 years or so. I work with Phil. Amanda knows Phil. I work with Phil. Phil is in the US, and most of the running arounds and advocacy, I do them myself. And I see the conditions of these people on a first hand. And the fundings we actually get, they are not really enough, but we are grateful for the fundings. They are not really enough to actually affect the kind of changes I want to see, because our government hasn't really been of a great help to us. But you see a situation wherein you're trying to make a change, and then a government is trying to truncate the changes you're trying to make. So imagine bringing AI to this kind of system, and then you have people of those kind of standing to program these systems. They also like give feedback, to give details, and to actually give a summary of the kind of operations that are being carried out. You're going to see that the resultant effect of whatever it is that's going to come back to you is not going to be as true as possible. They're going to try to like either interfere with the actual results you're going to get. So I believe that artificial intelligence is going to go a long way in helping save time, in helping save resources. But in terms of making ethical judgments, I don't think that we can rely on machines to actually do that, because machines don't have compassion. Machines don't have emotions. Machines can never be humans. So I don't actually agree to the point of having machines totally take over the ethical point of human judgment. Thank you so much, Rufio.
Thank you so much, Shima, and all speakers for the interview. I'm so happy for their participation. Well, so we are finished. Next, we move on to the closing remarks of the discussion panel, Earth Charter in Action with Artificial Intelligence, Climate Change, Entrepreneurship, Youth and Sustainable Development Goals, Decade of Action. Well, I ask to favor the speaker stay in the Zoom, and see you in the next panel discussion in Spanish version, everyone. Thank you so much for staying here. See you later. Bye-bye. Please, speakers, stay in the Zoom. Thank you so much. Best regards from Panama, everyone. I love you so much. Thank you.